Welcome to Hard Choices, the show where we search all of time and space for fiction's most fuckable characters, who turned out to be mostly from the UK this time, coincidentally. This episode, we're donning our brainy specs to analyze all 7 decades of the televised Doctor Who franchise, seeking the zenith, the nadir, and the median of fourth-dimensional fuckability. But this is about celebrating all Doctor Who, classic and new. It's not about winners and losers. No, it's about all the scarfing and the kissogramming, the ill-advised spooning and the cyber queening, the reckless box entering and the sonic screwing that we did along the way. I'm Kris Newton, the first host. Playing the same role, but much cooler and more popular, are Jaime Smith.
If the Daleks were here today, they'd want to procreate.
MeganBob.
Hello, sweetie.
And Sharon Schneiderman.
I want to talk about who I'm going to sonic screw.
So we've got a ton to talk about. Before we reveal which characters will be delving into time and rigorous dicking in space with us today, let's talk about the jiggery-pokery necessary to fit 14 doctors, 7 masters, and upwards of 40 companions into a 21-person list. First of all, this is BYO Master. We are treating the Master as one character, and each of us is bringing whoever is, in our estimation, the most fuckable Master. This does give them an unfair advantage in the final rankings. Seems only appropriate. As for the Doctor situation, I'll turn it over to MeganBob to explain that whole thing. Bob.
Okay, so there is a mini-sode where Kris helped us to rank all of the doctors using math because Kris understands what I think of as the true magic. And we went through and each of us chose a doctor to represent on the list. And then the 5th doctor was the doctor who made it the closest to the top in terms of like doctors we hadn't already chosen to have on the list. So that's how we ended up with just 5 because Kris was right. We needed to have a lot of companions because the companions are truly at least half the show. You need them so much. So we have a list that only has 5 doctors and the rest are all companions. But that is how we arrived at this creation. And boy, it was a struggle.
It's not that I'm that good at math, but I did come up with a clever concept and I would like to give it a name. A classic Doctor Who reference, a sex joke that I did not get to use in the body of the episode. I would like to refer to it as cock transfer computation. Thank you.
Okay. Beautiful. A+.
So we made deep cuts. Naturally, we have some honorable mentions from among all those big names that we had to cut. I will start with a classic Who companion, Ace, who in my mind was more disqualified than cut. The thing about Ace is that even though her actress was pushing 30 by the time the show ended, her character was a minor for most of her time on the show.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Ace is great. I recommend Ace highly. And by the end of her time on the show, Ace is a full-grown adult and is hot. I think that's legal. That's fair to say, especially because, again, Sophia Aldred is like 30 years old. But yeah, it just seemed a little too close to the line. So no Ace, sadly.
I'm going to go next with Mickey the Idiot.
Aww.
He's just so loyal and dumb and then grew into sort of a strong dude with some balls. And he got Martha in the end. So
yeah, you love to see it.
Yeah. Like to see somebody who started out sort of doofy and grows into something cool.
Sharon, who is your honorable mention?
So my honorable mention is Donna, who is one of the most, interesting companions, I think, because she has such a range that she goes through, from being kind of a demanding and kind of abrasive person initially to really finding herself, kind of believing in herself by the end. One of the best things about her is she's not in love with the Doctor. Not that she doesn't love him, but she doesn't want to sleep with the Doctor. She thinks of him kind of as a brother or as a really good friend. And she just has such a strong sense of self. She's amazing.
Yeah. And I want to take a second and honor Amy Pond, who did not make the list. I think Amy Pond, she occupies such an interesting place because she has a childhood relationship with the Doctor. And so she brought something a little different. And I also love that I love Amy Pond because Amy Pond brought us Nebula eventually. Like, that's how she kind of got enough notice to do all these other things that she's done now. Although I don't look at Amy Pond and go like, oh, thank God Amy Pond was a thing. Although I do like Amy Pond. I'm like, thank God Karen Gillan is a thing that we have in the world now. So yeah, I'm glad Amy Pond happened.
And also Amy Pond looks like Karen Gillan.
Yeah, that's a big plus.
Yeah.
One last thing before we reveal the list, and this is going to be harrowing for those of you at home. MeganBob's going to define fuckability now, and I must warn you not to blink while they're speaking, or they will leap out of the podcast and transport you back to Regency times to engage in a spicy romance with a Duke or some shit. So do not blink, starting now.
Fuckability is not what they look like. It's about how they fuck. So you have to assume that you are into them, that they are into you. Now, how good is the sex you've had with them, and what was it like? And you should blink. You can fuck a Duke.
For those of you who are still with us, and not somewhere in history getting railed by a rakish aristocrat, here are the 21 characters that we're ranking today. Number 1, the Third Doctor. A James Bond of a doctor who spent most of his tenure marooned on Earth, working for the government and dressing like a magician. I know it seems cute, but Time Lords only behave this way when they're very stressed.
Number 2, the Fourth Doctor, arguably the most iconic Doctor, with his multicolored scarf, trademark curls, and a voice that sounds like HP sauce tastes.
Number 3, the Ninth Doctor, the perpetrator of unforgivable actions to end the Time War, the last of the Time Lords. These are just a few of the descriptions that retroactively don't apply to Christopher Eccleston's Doctor, but it's too late because he already acted the hell out of them.
Number 4, the 10th Doctor. A dashing, romantic doctor whose charm belies dark deeds, such as convincing normal people that they can pull off pantsuits with trainers.
Number 5, the 11th Doctor. Manic, tender, and conniving by turns, his kaleidoscopic personality proves that there is no right place in the entire range of humanoid behavior for wearing a fez.
Number 6, Jamie McCrimmon, the Second Doctor's feisty, kilted companion from the 18th century Scotland. There are plenty of cute guys and bare knees in Doctor Who. But if you want the bare knees of a cute guy, Jamie's here to welcome you to your personal sliver of the Venn diagram.
Number 7, Zoe Harriet, a brilliant young astrophysicist who joined the Second Doctor from the far-flung 21st century. Although her coworkers sometimes accuse her of being a robot because of her childhood mental conditioning, she has demonstrated normal human walking speed, aka the 1960s Turing test.
Number 8, Brigadier General Alistair Lethbridge Stewart, the straight-laced, military-minded, impeccably mustachioed commander of unit forces in the UK.
Number 9, Sarah Jane Smith, an investigative journalist who adventured with multiple doctors and annexed K9 the robot dog as her own sidekick, establishing her dominance as an apex companion.
Number 10, Leela, a deadly warrior from a low-tech future society. Producers also put her in skimpy leather outfits because the BBC didn't send them to market with enough money for sex and violence. They were doing the best they could.
Number 11, Romana, a classy uptown time lady who fell under the Fourth Doctor's bad influence. We're treating both incarnations as one character, though clearly those two fucks wouldn't even be in the same genre.
Number 12, Tegan Jovanka, an abrasive Australian air hostess who stumbled into the TARDIS on her way to work, then became the Fifth Doctor's reluctant companion as he struggled to get her to Heathrow Airport like the universe's worst Uber driver.
Number 13, Rose Tyler, a London shop assistant who became one of the Doctor's great on-screen loves over his 9th and 10th incarnations. Was omnipotent for a minute, but it cleared right up.
Number 14, Captain Jack Harkness, a rogue time agent from the 51st century, initially serving as the horniest of companions to Doctors 9 and 10. Jack grew from fuckboy to fuckman before our eyes as the immortal head of Torchwood 3.
Number 15, Martha Jones, a brave medical student who developed a huge crush on the 10th Doctor, but eventually had to accept they were never going to bone. We are all Martha Jones.
Number 16, River Song, the sort of almost time lady whose twisted timelines saw her kill and marry the Doctor, not necessarily in that order.
Number 17, 11th Doctor companion Rory Williams, nurse, husband, and surprisingly down-to-earth guy for someone who lived 2,000 years as a plastic robot.
Number 18, Clara Oswald, a quick-witted schoolteacher who, Jesus Christ, introduced the Doctor to the TARDIS, multiplied through eternity to save every one of his lives at once, outmaneuvered him to escape death in her own TARDIS. I could go on.
Number 19, Madame Vastra, a Silurian detective operating in Victorian London with her sword-wielding wife/maid. Would maybe be problematic, but it's okay when you're a lizard woman.
Number 20, Bill Potts, whom the 12th Doctor decided to tutor when she attended his university lectures. Bill's open-mindedness, boldness, and curiosity were her greatest strengths, but they also led to her downfall at the hands of the 12th Doctor's greatest foe, Stephen Moffat.
Moffat!
Fuck that guy.
Number 21, The Master, fellow Time Lord and longtime rival to the Doctor. The Master has plagued the Doctor across incarnations too numerous to detail, but basically pick any three of the following traits. Sinister, black-clad, campy, unhinged, wears disguises, and obviously wants to bone the Doctor. Alright, like a scriptwriter who thinks he's very clever, let's start abruptly in the middle of our rankings with each of our choices for median fuckability. Jamie, who is your number 11?
My number 11 is Romana. Mostly because of Romana 1. There's just something about someone who's the smartest person in the room and knows it. She turns sex into a competition.
My number 11 is Clara Oswald. Clara has a lot going for her. She should be higher in the list. She is flirty and funny and cute, and like there's a really emotional attachment she can do too. She's also enough of a normal person to have like relevant sexual experience, unlike some of these characters. But the trouble is that that character just kind of gets subsumed by the Doctor to the point that she is basically the Doctor by the end of her run. And I just don't see her being fun and charming in the same way once she's had her personality completely crowded out by plot shenanigans. Bob, who is your number 11?
Jamie McCrimmon. Okay, so you're the one to initiate. You had to be. But he whips off that kilt. He's not wearing anything underneath it. You are going to get quips during sex, but they're going to be like super fond. He's like, oh, I suppose you want me to wear that then, do you? Hand it over. Because he's here for you at all times. And there will be this tone of, how did we end up in this mess? Even though you both know he loves being in this mess and you are the reason for the mess and he cannot get enough of it.
Sharon, who is your number 11?
All right, so my number 11 is Martha Jones. I think in some ways she should be up higher, but it's only because this is a really stacked list that she's down at 11. She's so capable, and she's competent, yet really flirty and really fun. Like, she obviously knows how to have a good time, but she knows what she wants. And, like, she leaves the 10th Doctor when she's like, dude, nah, this isn't happening. I like her confidence.
I have Martha as my number 12.
Oh, yes?
Yeah, she lost points for me because she spent so much time just mooning over the Doctor, but there is a time and place for that doting kind of puppy love that could be fun.
My number 12 is Sarah Jane Smith. I feel really awful putting her here because she's so fun and she's so hot, but she just puts off a lot of friend energy to me. Not that you can't fuck your friends. Nobody's saying that. I'm just saying, like, she doesn't seem like that kind of friend. She seems like the kind of friend who's like really sunny and smart and has everything going for her, but you can never figure out why she has this string of inexplicably boring boyfriends. Like, she seems like a fun person who has boring sex, and it's a shame.
She's my number 12 also. I do. She's so competent and so amazing, and her energy as she gets older is really sexy. But yeah, there's something about her that would just be like, I don't know. She'd be blunt too. She'd tell you if you did something wrong.
That's true. Bob, who is your number 12?
Bill Potts. I think you go home happy. Bill doesn't have a lot of experience, but Bill's not afraid to break the rules in the name of getting what she wants, like sneaking into lectures and stuff, and that bodes well. Also not a fucking quitter. She hangs in there whenever she wants something. So on top of that, I think she's really funny and witty, and that gets a lot of points with me. But the promise of somebody who's like, oh, I'll break the rules to give you the ride of your life. And I'm like, okay, all right, great, yay.
Let's go to number 13. MeganBob, who's your number 13?
Tegan Jovanka. I get huge party hardy vibes. Like, she's never more proud of the doctor whenever the doctor's being an idiot risk taker. And she's also disapproving, but she's kind of like, yeah, go you. And she's the kind of person, if you don't finish your drink, she will chug it. If your curry's too hot, she's going to be the one to eat it. If you're not sure about kissing in the movie theater, she's like, I dare you to give me a hand job. And you're like, Jesus Christ, I was just trying to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark. Tegan is the one who's going to get you kicked out of places. And that is a fun fuck.
Tegan is my number 13.
She's mine as well.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah, the thing is, I think she gets a bad rap. Like, the 80s were a rough time for fuckability. Even for those, like, outside of space and time. It was a hard time. And she really is, like, in a certain sense, the victim of the era's fashion. And even more so, I think the situation she was in, like, she has this reputation as a complainer, as, like, a loudmouth. But, like, it was a shitty situation that she was in.
Yeah.
She was complaining sometimes and standing up for herself. She had to. The doctor had been trying for, like, a year to drive her home. That's the problem that she was having. And I think that's about the doctor. I think if you know how to get this woman to Heathrow, that fiery personality is going to be fun. I think that's going to turn the whole situation around. How about for you, Jamie?
I would sleep with her to steal her wardrobe.
Oh,
yeah.
I love the 80s, and her wardrobe was just fantastic. I don't know that much about that era of the doctor, but in the little bits that I watched, that's like, she's really cute. I want her clothes.
Does this include the air hostess outfit?
No, just all her 80s stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, God, it's really good. Although even the air hostess outfit, like, you can get some mileage out of that later with somebody else.
I don't think we've done Sharon's number 13, have we?
So my number 13 is Romana. I like her. She's got such a cool vibe about her. She's a little too kind of cold at times. Like, she can be fun and she can be quippy, but she was a little cold. And so that's why she's down on the lower end of my list. Really cool that she's a time lady, though.
Yeah.
Let's go to number 14. Sharon, who's your number 14?
My number 14 is the Master. I chose to bring the Master from the 10th Doctor era. What is that actor's name?
John Sim.
Yeah, John Sim.
John Sim. Thank you. He is sexy in a really psychotic way. But that's why he's down there, is because he might kill you afterwards. Like, he might praying mantis your butt.
Yes.
Like, it's a little scary.
My 14 is also the Master. I brought Professor Yana, which is the Derek Jacobi one, before he turns into John Sim.
Ooh.
Look, I don't know why I feel this. I know everybody's screaming. It's because of the peepums. And look, it's not just about the peepums thing. God damn it, I have more layers. Is it the betrayal? The fact that he could be really nice and then the next minute I'm dead? Am I horny for being suddenly turned on? Stay with me. I'm trying to work this out. What am I doing here? Is it that he has a pocket watch? Maybe. I do love a pocket watch. That was part of the draw for me about the Sixth Doctor. I am so interested and I don't know what it is, and I don't even want it that much because it's number 14, and yet some part of me does.
Jamie, who is your number 14?
Mine is Jamie McCrimmon. He seems a little bit clingy. He's a close talker, which I don't like very much, but he's Scottish, and I want him to keep that kilt on.
Yeah.
My number 14 is Leela. Notoriously, Leela and her little leather outfits were added to Doctor Who to keep, quote, the dads watching the show, which I ideologically reject, but empirically support. Like, I mean, I am evidence. Obviously she's hot, and she's also very forceful, very direct. I know she's going to have a good time, and I think, therefore, I'm going to have it like I don't need to do anything. She's going to drive me to Heathrow. It's going to be fine. But she's not playful. That's the thing. I think like sometimes that level of directness, like that's fun once, but then, like, I don't know. If we're not going to play, then I don't know.
Yeah.
My number 15 is Leela.
Oh, okay, go.
She's definitely a dom.
Oh.
She's possibly into knife play.
Oh.
I don't particularly like pain too much with my sex, but kind of open for anything once.
Oh.
My number 15 is Madame Bastra. She is, obviously, we all realize, like this cold-blooded sex monster, and it's going to be... But here's the thing. I don't believe that she can operate a penis. I know that we try to keep the gender and the anatomical stuff out of this, but in this case, it's worth mentioning because here's the thing. She's going to have a learning curve.
Yes.
With everything that mammals do. So if you are not exactly what she's done before, it is going to be like a long, scaly road to good sex. even however motivated she may be, there's just like time will have to be taken. And so I think like I'm very happy for her and her, sword wielding relationship, but I don't want in. Who is your number 15, Bob?
The 11th Doctor. The song and dance that you have to go through to get this. Like, I feel like such a workaholic, even compared to the other doctors. And there's like a person out there who does have their sex with their clothes on and because like, oh, it's a power play. But then there's people who are like, well, but I got to get back to doing other stuff. So this is kind of like in my best interest to just do it this way. And I think it's going to be satisfying, but I think it's going to feel like something's being held back, but not in a fun, sad way. It's going to feel like something's being held back because there's other priorities. And even though he's interested, he's like his dick is interested, but his heart isn't interested. His hearts aren't interested.
Sharon, who is your number 15?
My number 15 is the 3rd Doctor. I am not super attracted to James Bond, and I like my doctors a little squishier than that. He's fine. I can see a little bit of appeal in him, and I'm not going to say he's terrible at sex. He's just a little too, like, structured for my taste. Like, he's just a little too, like, I don't know, like, I was not feeling his vibe. I love his hair, though.
It's good hair.
I do. Like, I would gladly run my hands through that hair. But yeah, I don't need the government working. I like the rogue. I want my doctors roguish.
Let's go to number 16. My number 16 is Martha Jones. Like Clara, way too cute to be this low on the list. But I don't think sex is going to be important to her. And that's fine. Like, this is not a referendum on her character. It's just like, for the purposes of this show, I mean, she decided to stop hanging around the 10th Doctor because that relationship wasn't going to become romantic. And that's great. Like, good for her. But you can only be so thirsty and walk away from David Tennant. You know what I mean? Like, I think she's good at prioritizing. She has her family. She has her career. So top marks for her as a person. But like, in terms of fuckability, I think this is a same sex every Friday scenario. Like, how about for you, Bob?
My number 16 is Zoe Harriet. There's not nothing here. Zoe blinks at you with those big, earnest eyes the entire time and says things like, well, I suppose we'd better use some lubricant if you're going to put that inside me, hadn't we? Like, it's going to be perfectly fine on fundamentals, but what you're getting with Zoe is somebody who, this is my theory, approaches sex every time like it's a boss fight, and she's going to win. She's going to excel at this sex, and it's going to be amazing because she's determined. And that is so unique. I don't know that I necessarily would enjoy it, but like it appeals in a way.
Sharon, who is your number 16?
My number 16 is Leela. She scares me slightly. There is the knife play and a little bit of aggression that is slightly attractive. I'm not going to say that's not a mildly attractive trait, but I feel like you're getting less of the crazy spontaneity of the master and more just like, if you're not good at this, I'm going to stab you to death. And that's a little frightening. But she is really, like, she has sexy vibes. Yeah. Like, I love that. But yeah, she scares me a little.
Jaime, who is your number 16?
My number 16 is Clara. It's pretty low and very low for how beautiful she is because she's perfect. But I'm just not into people whose personalities change constantly. And I don't know what I would be getting. So that just doesn't appeal to me.
My number 17 actually is Claire Oswald. So I think that Clara could be an opportunity for a no strings attached fuck, but okay, Clara could fuck. Clara's not going to fuck. And that's not because like she's bad at it or anything. I think it's just that Clara's eye is always going to be on the clock while you're having sex because she's like, well, okay, as soon as this is over, we can go get into mischief and go have fun that I care about. And so I don't get like big fuck vibes from her. I get big, like a cat about to knock something off the table vibes, which is very different.
Sharon, who is your number 17?
So my number 17 is Rose Tyler.
Whoa.
Now, don't get me wrong.
Okay.
I adore Rose. She was the first companion I saw. I love her. I feel like she would just be a little weepy, a little clingy, and very sweet. I don't think she would be terrible at it by any means, but I just feel like she's a little inexperienced, and maybe she wants more. Like, I don't think she'd be a good, like, just fuck. Like, maybe a good Mary?
Oh.
Okay.
Jaime, who's your number 17?
My number 17 is Sarah Jane Smith. There's nothing wrong with Sarah Jane Smith. She's very pretty. She's very smart. She's extremely curious, which is appreciated. But she just does nothing for me.
Well, I'm happy that you've hurt me this way because my number 17 is Rory Williams.
We're fighting!
I mean, it's complicated. Rory forces us to consider what fuckability means. Does he have skills? I assure you that he does not. He's charming because he is kind of like bumbling and timid. And I think that might be a fun experience, but also only in proportion to how much you get into his vibe, which I don't think is going to fully convey. Because like he was in love with Amy forever, right? Like through their entire childhood and everything. And she thought he was gay until like into adulthood because she never picked up anything. So I have a hard time thinking that on anything like an early encounter, however much Rory is into you, I think it is going to be all clumsy fingers. I do not think you are going to be compensated for the downsides of this experience until way, way down the road. And I do not have the patience for it. Number 18, Sharon, who is your number 18?
Number 18 for me was Zoe Harriet. She was just a little too analytical. I feel like she would be somebody who would be using it as an experiment and maybe documenting the experience. And I don't know if I'm down for that. I think she'd use the word intercourse a little too often. And, you know, like, she's cute and she's super competent. I really like how, especially for the time period, she is an extremely competent female companion. I love her. She's cool. But I don't know if I want to be analyzed that much.
My number 18 is also Zoe. Much for the same reasons. Yeah, a little too by the book, I guess. Just it's like school.
Let's see. My number 18 is the Fourth Doctor. Just look at this man's smile and tell me that the sex isn't going to be scary. I mean, I do not know what the fuck he is going to do, not just in terms of activities or, God forbid, some kind of like weird like prop or location that he has in mind. Anything could happen. But also in terms of his emotions, like the way that he has this warmth and good humor that just completely evaporate in an instant for no reason. Like there are whole stories where people who are close to him, he's just visibly annoyed with their existence suddenly. That would be bizarre and scary to go through. And also, people talk about other doctors' darkness, but when it comes to being deep down indifferent to other people, I'm not sure anybody beats the Fourth Doctor on that. I mean, he has his moments of heroism, but there's a lot of like, just do not give a shit about other people in the Fourth Doctor. And that's okay for some kinds of sex, maybe, but not scary sex. Bob, who is your number 18?
Madame Vastra. She's not going to be mean enough for a mean fuck. She's not going to be passionate enough for a passionate fuck. She's not going to be obsessed enough for an obsessed fuck. The sex is going to be fine. But she's Sherlock Holmes. I don't want to fuck Sherlock Holmes. I want John Watson to fuck Sherlock Holmes and I want to watch, but I don't want to be John Watson. And that's kind of how that goes.
Yeah. I feel that way too. Whoever just made that noise.
I know. I have answers for you whenever we get there, but don't worry.
Number 19. Jamie, who is your number 19?
My number 19 is Bill.
Wow.
I'm going to be honest. I don't really know that character very well. I tried multiple times to watch episodes. I quit very early on both times. But she just really just didn't do it for me. Like personality, I got nothing. So unfortunately, sorry, Bill, I ranked her really low.
My number 19 is the Brigadier. I guess I should say the full name. I won't get another chance. Brigadier General Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart. He's number 19.
Yeah.
Great name. But, he'll try. I think he's a well-groomed, very decent, very loyal, but the whole point of him is that he's just like single-minded and boring. Like, think of all the times that he argued with the Doctor against all reason that the only way to solve a problem was military force. Sex is going to be like that, but replace military force with textbook missionary position.
Kris, he's my 19 as well. I think he will do anything for you, but he has no inclination to do so with any kind of winning attitude. It will be, well, if you say so. And so imagine the person who's 100% willing to do it, but does everything with a tone of bafflement and sort of like, I don't know, this makes no sense to my sensible brain. And that's just going to be really hard to enjoy any of it because he's going to miss the point of all of it.
Sharon, who is your number 19?
Number 19 for me is the 11th Doctor. I love Matt Smith. Mm-hmm. I think he is delightful. I think he's a really fun Doctor. I think it takes until he turns like 1,000 or whatever for him to be grown up. And so I feel like I would be fucking a child, even though he's in the body of an adult. I feel like he would be confused. He also thinks that sex is icky at one point in the series, when he's talking about Rory and Amy. And he has moments where I think he could get it. He's also so alien in a lot of ways. And not alien enough to be like Madame Vastra, but like not human enough to be, like David Tennant. Is just kind of a weird, ambiguous. I think it would be strange. I don't want to teach him.
My number 20 is River Song.
What?
Wow.
Here's the thing.
Go on, baby.
I really had to, because I know that she can do things to me, and I had to bear that in mind. I know that she can. Here's the thing, though. Part of the premise of the show is that you presume someone is into you, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm concerned by how competitive and ruthless she is with the Doctor despite being into him. I think if I am in this for the sex, I am also in this for like getting like locked up places and left behind and marooned everywhere and like getting kidnapped and getting like, poisoned so that she can steal something from me. I just feel like that relationship is the only one that can be intense enough to support the sex, which I know is going to be good, but I just can't. And here's the other thing. She's a little bit amoral for me. And I had to put myself in like, that's one thing for like space-time adventures or whatever, but in daily life, I cannot fuck somebody who was mean to the waiter earlier.
Oh.
And I feel like there's a vibe coming off of her. Like she feels that she and the doctor in their tiny circle are the only people who really matter. And other people, she may abstractly care about their lives, but like she would put a gun in somebody's face to like empty the register so she can go buy something she wants. She doesn't have a problem with that. And, I've perhaps had a little taste of that in relationships in the past. Oof. And I can't live with that person. Bob, who is your number 20?
Leela. Now, this is For's fault. This is not Leela's fault. Look what you did, For. You took a perfectly good, vicious jungle lady and you ruined her. Now she feels like a dumb Time Lord fop is fuckable? No, ruined. No. Unless I am willing to do a reverse Pygmalion and like try to rewild this perfect being, then what I am going to get is going to be somebody desperately trying to have boring civilized sex, and I just cannot. I do not have the patience to try to return her to the wild, nor do I have the inclination to accept what will be tepid sex. No thank you. And fuck you for doing this.
Sharon, who is your number 20?
My number 20 is Jaime McCribbin. He is far too earnest for anything. That is my opinion. I instantly, upon meeting that character, I was like, you're a great companion. Your accent is delightful because I am a big fan of Scottish.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's a great accent. And the kilt is great. It has nothing to do with the look. It's just he's so earnest and so like trusting in certain moments. And I think it would be kind of boring. I do. I think it would be boring.
Wow. Jamie, who is your number 20?
My number 20 is the Fourth Doctor. I do love curly hair. I just feel like maybe he doesn't have the follow through. He could have ended the Daleks and he didn't. So can he finish?
Oh.
Wow.
I said what I said.
Yeah, damn.
Bob, who is your number 21?
Rory Pond.
Oh my God.
Okay, no, this is about me. No.
It's fine.
No.
More for me.
This is someone who makes love and has never fucked a day in his life. There would not be anything either of us could do. We are just trapped in this treacle, and I bet the sex is fine, but he is going to tenderly stroke my face and give me a look like you are my world. I am going to scream and run. No, absolutely not. Also, I can't even top him. He is too soft. I would hurt him with a cruel word. He would but weep before me if I said, "Oh, you did a slightly bad job." And he'd be like, "Oh, I did." And I'm like, "That's not how the game is played, Rory."
Sharon, who is your number 21?
My number 21 is Brigadier Alistair Lethbridge Stewart.
You know what? That's super fair.
It's for very similar reasons, as were previously stated. I feel like it would be far too militarized and really just boring. That character is far too structured. There are not that many rules that need to be followed during sex.
He has an evacuation chart just in case. He's like, if the plan goes pear-shaped, here are your instructions. And you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, I don't need this.
Yeah, and not even rules in a fun way.
Yeah, no fun rules.
No, it wouldn't be like, ooh, tell me those rules. It'd be like, oh. Oh, you don't want water next to the bed because it might spill. Okay.
I do feel like in his sort of like mission objectives for sex, protecting the bed, like protecting the furniture, that's definitely at the top of the list.
Jesus, it is.
Jamie, who's your number 21?
The third Doctor.
Wow.
I like the clothes. I'm not so into grandpas. So he's just a little too old for me. I would feel just weird. I think it would be weird. Yeah, but I do like a cape.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah, that cape.
My number 21 is the 11th Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
He's hot, I guess. I mean, apparently not my flavor of ice cream, but whatever. But the thing is, this opens my eyes though to like when you take that away, what have you got here? This is an erratic, arrogant, like sometimes a very obtuse man, manipulative, embarrassing to be around, super dramatic, always has to be the center of attention. This loudmouth, everything about him, every relationship, every object he owns. Everything he does just drips with self-satisfaction.
Oof.
And he cannot make good on that. Like, based on his confusion at, like, Amy Pond's advances on him, based on the way he dances, this motherfucker, he's going to hurt somebody. He's going to hurt somebody out there. He was very wise to stay out of the sex game, I think. So I think that's it for the list. Interior. TARDIS. Your boner stumbles in from the cold, limp and depleted from its encounter with the least fuckable characters in the Doctor Who franchise. It flops onto the console, limp and wizened.
Oh, no.
But what's this? A tingle of energy suffuses the room. A deep wheezing emerges, which normally is not an omen of strong boners to come, but in this case, it's a good sign. Miraculously, your boner's vitality begins to return.
Oh, no.
Sharon, our boner's tenuous grip on renewed life depends on you. Who is your number 10?
My number 10 is Madame Vostra. I love her vibe. I love how sexy she comes off. And then her and Jenny's relationship is so goddamn cute. It just makes me want to scream. And I feel like she'd be really good. Also, she probably has a forked tongue. Mm-hmm, and there are probably some things that woman knows how to do. Also, I really like the lizard thing. I'm weirdly into that.
Oh, the skin's very hot.
Right? Like, you just want to... Can I pet you?
Yeah.
JB, who is your number 10?
I have the Brigadier.
Whoa, tell me more. I want to know all about it.
I like the mustache. I think he's foxy. And while sometimes I like to be bossed around, I feel like maybe I could boss him around.
Gasp. Gasp.
That is, I had not even considered, but like, yeah, he's a soldier. Like he can, you know, he's used to being on both ends of that.
Oh, damn.
He needs to be at attention, if you will.
Jamie, you're blowing my mind.
My number 10 is Bill Potts. She is so cute, so smart, so real. I think that was really refreshing, especially at that time in the show. And truly looking for like both fun and human connection, which I think is the ideal combo. She's looking to try new things. And when she worked in the university cafeteria, she gave her crush extra fries. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you should ever fuck somebody who doesn't give you extra fries.
Amen.
Bob, who is your number 10?
Martha Jones. One, she's a doctor. Probably knows like a couple of sex things, maybe. I don't know if there's a class on that, but I didn't go to medical school. And if I was running medical school, there would be a class on how to do a cool sex thing. Most importantly, so practical. She is absolutely the person who's like, well, we're in a warehouse and when we have time to kill, you want to fuck on these boxes? And you're like, this is a bad time. She's like, it's probably fine though. Like, great. A plus. Also, she makes a lot of good connections with aliens. Like, she makes alien friends pretty well. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Hands down the most likely, aside from Jack Harkness, to bring others into the bedroom with you. Hands down.
Number 9. Jamie, who is your number 9?
My number 9 is Madame Vastra. It's very similar to Sharon. I feel like she's smart and loyal and snaky. And I actually wrote down, what else can that lizard tongue do?
Yum, yum.
Exactly.
Number 9, and this is going to be my big feels only because I have more written, and so I need the time. My peak master is the deliciously villainous Roger Delgado, who scowled his way into our hearts and minds in the Third Doctor era. Mm-hmm. Literally, he scowls his way into your mind with hypnosis. That is how he operates.
Yeah.
And look, is he evil? Yes. From his pointy beard to his black boots. Is he domineering? His legal name is Master. That's what they call him at the Gallifreyan DMV. Of course he's domineering. He's doming the whole world. You're just the bottom who's on his agenda today. But make no mistake, this stern beacon of big dick Artron energy is thorough. Making you come is not one errand on his list. It is a category. It is a fucking subhead.
What?
And there's no head like subhead.
Oh my God. Fuck. That's so good.
Bob, number 9.
Rose Tyler. So you can get the starry-eyed fuck. Fuck that. Fuck that. Far more interested in the crass fuck that you can get with Rose. So, like, you just go down on her while she's watching Neighbors on the television. And she comes on your face and asks you to pass her like a star bar. And tells you, oh no, I'll totally return the favor. Can't we just finish the episode first? And it's easy, and there's dirty dishes in the sink, and the flat needs dusting, and it's just this unfiltered, schlubby college fuck, and it's beautiful.
Sharon.
I know, right?
Yeah. I was like, maybe we should start Bob's lists at like 10, because every time this happens, it's like, Sharon, you're number 9.
My number 9 is Tegan Jovanka. I really loved her first appearance, like when you first see her and the flat tire happens and she's like, nah, we can change it ourselves. And she's just got this like really cool vibe about her. I know she's a little whiny at times, but it's because she's in a really crappy situation, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just so no nonsense. But in, like, she also has this fun side. I feel like it would just be really fun. And she would tell you what she wanted. There would be no shyness. She'd be like, this is what's happening. This is what I like. This is what we're doing. But in a exciting way. I don't know. I like it.
My number 8 is the Ninth Doctor. And I can go either way on characters like this. You know, I think that these tortured, conflicted characters, they have a huge upside. But the question is always, does that like fire inside convey to fucking? Or is this going to be like a big sad fizzle where it's like, I'm so mad and I'm so sad, but this cannot be expressed through the dick. In the Ninth Doctor's case, I think the way that Rose breaks through with him, I think the moments of joy that we see with him, that shows that those emotional reserves that he has, the guilt, the anger, that can be tapped. And that is going to be explosive. Sometimes. I'm not saying he's always going to be a good time because he is moody. But just today, just this once, everybody comes.
Yeah! Oh, Kris, you have my heart.
Bob, who is your number 8?
The Third Doctor dresses like a Lothario from either the 1970s or the 1830s. Hard to tell. Like fucking a gentleman thief, so he's got the social skills. I mean, arguably very imperious whenever called upon, but also dumb fuck shenanigans the rest of the time. So you will only be fucked in broom cupboards, behind like curtains in drawing rooms, and in any kind of like moving vehicle. That's all he does, and then he will look perfect immediately afterward and look over at you, who's still kind of a mess, and be like, why aren't you ready? We have to go sword fight the Master now. And you're like, what the fuck? But also, like, it's fun. It is a perfect little macaron of a fuck.
Sharon, who is your number 8?
So my number 8 is one of my big feels. It's Rory Pond. He's only down this low because I think he's more of somebody that you marry. Like, hands down, number 1, run away with Rory Pond. Oh, or Rory Williams. He is so incredible. He waited outside the box for 2,000 years. And, I mean, who doesn't want to run off with the man who waits for 2,000 years. He is incredible. He's funny and so loyal. And that is really sexy. But he's down a little lower because I feel like there are better fucks than him. It would be vanilla, but you know what? I don't mind some vanilla sex. I don't.
Yeah.
It would be fine. I like that.
Jamie, who is your number 8?
My number 8 is Missy. A master, but she's Missy. She is like an evil Mary Poppins.
Oh.
She's going to dance around you. She wears clothes really well. She's going to be mean. But she'll get you by being nice first. I kind of love her, even though she's a bad person.
She's sexy.
Yeah.
Silent.
We're all just there with her going, that's right. Yell at me, please.
Bob, who is your number 7?
Sarah Jane Smith. She goes off and has her own fucking adventure. She does not need you. She is happy to have you along, but she has her own spin-off show, and that says this is somebody with plans. Okay, imagine your mom's best friend, but was not just a groupie, she was the groupie. The groupie who got so good at being a groupie, she went and became a musician in her own right, and people know and respect and love her work and think, oh, she fucks. They think she fucks because they're right. Sarah Jane Smith has fucked everything there is to fuck, and that's why she's so settled down now. She already did it all. Her bingo card is full, bitches. Sorry, I have feelings about her.
Sharon, who's your number 7?
My number 7 is the 4th Doctor. I kind of like the crazy. I think he's fun. He's got a really fun side. He is dark, but I like how kind of committed to not killing he is. There's an episode with Leela where she's like, you can celebrate the death of your enemy, and he's like, no, we can't, but we'll argue about the ethics later. And I thought that was really sexy in a weird way. And he's just so fun. I feel like it would be fun. Also, the Doctor is ancient. I'm sure he knows some tricks.
Jamie, who is your number 7?
The 9th Doctor. He's charming in his anger and angry in his charm, but also not opposed to getting kinky based on his flirtation with a literal tree person. I think it would be fantastic.
Beautiful.
My number 7 is Zoe Harriet, and I know that she is benefiting from my personal tastes for sure. She's super intelligent, probably smarter than the Doctor, which is nuts for the 60s. Socially awkward. I think she has a lot of vulnerability, though. I do not find her to be robotic. I think sometimes you see her happy and her face just lights up. She's very open with her feelings. She's got one of those cute round faces, and the mini skirts, the cat suits, that helps. Sometimes I evaluate these characters by the faces that I think they would make, like before, during, and after, as just kind of a shorthand for like the total physical and emotional vibe of the character. And I did that with Zoe, and number 7.
Yeah.
Let's go to number 6. Sharon, who is your number 6?
Number 6 is Bill Potts. I really like Bill Potts. I like that she is so into learning. I like how inquisitive she is. I love the extra fries thing. I think that's fantastic. But the thing that kind of kicked her up to 6 for me was the fact that she is not only human, but then becomes a water creature, and then also becomes a glass monster, and I don't know, and a Cyberman. She's got some things. By the end of that road, I feel like she knows some tricks. And I mean, as a glass person, she has like all the knowledge of the universe because of the testimony. It's a whole thing, and I feel like she would be fun. I feel like she would just be really fun. And I love the queer vibes she's got going on. Like, it's just, oh.
Jamie, who is your number 6?
Rose Tyler. I just get these like romancy vibes from her. Maybe I, as it turns out, am a little into romance in my sex. She would literally cross dimensions for you. She loves that hard. And when you love someone that much, the sex is probably really good.
My number 6 is Romana. I kind of like Romana 1. I think like that's kind of an elegant, superior Dom energy. That kind of does it for me. But the way that Romana 2 combines being little and cute with being so self-possessed and so brilliant is precisely my thing. Like, I don't even need her to fuck me. If you look up what she wears in the City of Death with the little, the little almost sailor suit, imagine this woman effortlessly explaining temporal mechanics to you. You do that for me, I can take care of the rest later. Like, you're free to go. Bob, who's your number 6?
Also Romana. I like both, but Romana 1, she just wishes you would take things seriously for once, and she's so disgusted and annoyed with you. You just get slapped across the face and then shoved up against the wall of the TARDIS. And it's not what either of you really intended, but with her, it just feels like the most natural thing. The smolder is unfucking real. And then she could fucking regenerate into manic pixie brunch date. What the? Yeah, this is perfect.
Jamie, who is your number 5?
The 11th Doctor. I think it would be fun. It'd be kind of like fucking a Muppet.
Sorry.
He's very...
I'll be sure to have you back for the Muppets episode then.
He's very, like, flaily and like, spastic, and I don't know, there's just something I really like about that. I like his weird giraffe dance. Like, I think it would be super fun, and I would laugh a lot, but not laugh at him, just because he would just make it so enjoyable.
My number 5 is Jamie McCrimmon, and I know exactly why this is. I know why I'm the outlier here. It's because the tragedy of the straight man is that you never get to fuck a dude, like just a dude. And I think that's what I'm missing. He's so like just smiling and simple, uncomplicated, 100% devoted, supports people in the most direct way possible. But also, if you look at the way that he acts in his run on the show, like he's clearly into, Victoria, Zoe, at least a little bit, but it's just generalized like youthful fuck energy. It's like, oh, hey, who's that? And by the time he has even processed the thought already, action inside the kilt. And I just feel like when you combine that with the longevity, he was the companion for so long, this guy's not going anywhere. This guy is like, when life moves him along, fine. But until then, he'll just stick around and like fuck whoever's fucking him. And that's fine. And I don't know. I think like there are people who are always going to be there for you, but in a boring way. And then there are people who are just going to be the same delightful, dumb person, buoying you up no matter how hard your life gets. And those people are, number 1, in some ways better. And number 2, if those people also are down for like an uncomplicated fuck at the end of a hard day, that's pretty great. That's good.
Yeah.
Bob, who is your number 5?
Big feels. Captain Jack Harkness. The absolute greatest 2-night stand of your fucking life. Because it is not over that night. No, next morning, doorbell rings. It is a beautiful alien with a box of pastries from their home planet. Jack invited them over because he knew you'd be into it. The 3 of you eat breakfast naked and play Super Smash Brothers in between smashing. Now, it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Jack claps his hands and goes, right, shower. Everybody get into the shower. Company's coming. And somehow, he does the thing. It makes the shower bigger on the inside. You're all in the shower. Weird Torchwood things. Next thing you know, there's a knock on the shower door. Who the fuck knocks on a shower door? Jack says, Tick's on, get in. So glad you could make it. Obviously, he checked all this before this happened. But you're like, what the fuck? I'm getting to be railed by all these different aliens. This is amazing. And then you have hickeys in the shapes that no human mouth could ever fucking make. And your nightstand is missing a foot now, but the dishes are done and the sheets have been changed because he leaves you better than he found you. And you've been fucked so thoroughly and completely that you have to take Monday and Tuesday off of work. Thank you for reading my fanfic.
Jack Harkness is my number 5 also.
Mm-hmm.
He is so sexy. The only reason he's not up even higher is because I feel like he is always in danger, and you might be at risk of being arrested or killed or something, but damn, that man is just, he's so sexy.
Captain Jack is my number 4. He's gonna live forever. He's clearly really good at sex, and you get that forever. And he's not boring. He's extremely cocky. He looks great with his clothes off. Where's the loss here? He's great.
My number 4 is the 10th Doctor. I mean, there's almost no... Like, what can I say about David Tennant that Tumblr did not already squeal itself hoarse about in the late 2000s? But it's not just David Tennant. It's like there's a stylishness. There is a blend of humanity and alienness also. He's demonstrated to actually be fun, like to actually take you places. I value that. And there's a darkness that is similar to Nine's, but it's just a shade less dark. So I don't think there's going to be crying, which like, I'm not saying you never want crying, but you know, like if I had to choose as a binary between crying and not crying, I'm a Mounds man. I can leave the almond joy for somebody else. It's
Kris. I also have 10 as my number 4.
Mm-hmm.
It can be fun, can be serious, can be romantic, but there's something about it is like laying your cheek against the retaining wall of a fucking enormous dam, and you could just feel this vast power underneath it. But there's a very real sense in which it can never be fully unleashed upon you. It would kill you. So, like, you are just, I think that sex is just so beautiful and tender and precious because you are breakable to him and so very, very finite. But I think you would also feel very loved.
Sharon, who is your number 4?
My number 4 is Clara Oswald. So I adore her playfulness. I like that she can be really spunky and fun. She has kind of this daredevil style about her. I also love the fact that she's the impossible girl, and she has gone through all of time and space, basically, because she jumped into the Doctor's time stream, and she just cares about him so thoroughly. I think it would be really fun, and she would be up for anything, and she would top or bottom. She'd just be down.
Bob, who is your number 3?
Big feels. The 4th Doctor. He offers me a jelly baby. My hand reaches right past that bag and directly for the belt buckle. I don't fucking care that I sound insane. I don't care about anything else but being tied up in that fucking scarf. It is the experience of fucking someone who is thinking 7 different things at once, and 2 of them would make you scream and run, and 5 of them would make you bite your lip. And those are good odds, so you have to stay. This is someone, he's done everything, and he's still in love with all of it, and he can't wait to show you what it's like. Also, like, crucially, he probably has a tiny hat and scarf for his dick, and I need to fucking see it. So important. This fuck is life-changing.
I mean, you're not persuading me the way you're trying to persuade me, but I believe you about the hat, for sure.
Yeah, okay. No, this is for me, and I never expect anyone to follow me on this. That being tied up in that shitty, stupid scarf is going to be amazing.
Sharon, who is your number 3?
Okay, so my number 3, I made this list after I made the Doctor fuckability list, and I really had to think about it. And it's the 10th Doctor. Now, although I find David Tennant, insanely attractive. He's a really, really sexy man. I feel that he's not higher only because he has some anger and angst, and how he deals with being upset is sometimes kind of unpredictable. But man, he'd be good, and he would either tie you up or cuddle you. I feel like he could go all kinds of different ways, and he is so strong and powerful, and he is alien in a lot of ways that are in a really sexy way. Yeah, I love him.
Jamie, who's your number 3?
River Song. She is walking sex. She looks amazing all the time. Her hair is huge. She's got incredible boobs.
Yeah. Amen.
I feel like she just knows all the ways to do things, and she's not afraid to tell you and instruct you. I love her. I think it would be passionate and crazy, and I'm here for it.
My number 3 is Rose Tyler. Everything you said, Bob, I think that is the life that you end up with. That's the joy with Rose. I don't think you even have to get there to know. I think you can just tell that she fucks immediately. And you can tell with the doctor who was like a virtual celibate for 9 lifetimes. Then he looked at that face that Rose makes with like the lips, and he was like, oh, fucking. Yeah. And he was never the same. It changed everything. Marked down a little bit only because I feel like she's one of those people where like the more serious it gets, the less fun it gets. So maybe if there starts to be a relationship, the scales are going to tip a little bit. Like the situation that we saw Mickey in at the beginning of the series, I'm sure he was having fun still, but maybe he's not like peak Rose.
Yeah.
Might kind of start to be a little maudlin, but that's down the road. I mean, the initial thing with Rose, I think, is going to be A+. Sharon, who is your number 2?
My number 2 is the 9th Doctor. I adore him. He's my doctor. He's the first Doctor I really saw. I knew about Doctor Who before. He is one of my big feels. I wept when he left because I knew very little about Doctor Who when I got into it. So I didn't realize that he was only around for 1 season and that he was going to change. And that blew my mind. And I cried so hard. But I feel like he's got anger and angst, right? He feels so guilty about destroying his people. But when he shows joy, when he has that moment in the Doctor Dances where he says everybody lives, I cried so hard in that episode because he just has this like full expressive joy. And I feel like he would be so much fun. And then when he kisses Rose to take the TARDIS energy, that whole crazy omnipotence stuff from her, it just had so much compassion and so much kindness, but he could be aggressive too. And I think he would just be amazing.
Jamie, who is your number 2?
The 10th Doctor. He's so passionate. He might cry. No, he will cry.
Yeah.
He might yell. No, he will yell. He might do both at the same time. But he'll do it wearing a suit and Converse sneakers. He's got the best hair.
Yeah.
He's so beautiful. And he loves so just hugely that he will burn up a sun for you. He's everything. He's my doctor. And I would do anything for him. I think that he would do anything for someone that he loves. This is where I get all schmoopy and romantic. But I think he's good at everything, and he will tell you that as well. So it goes to show he's probably really good at sex, too. He's 900 years old, so that's it. That's my spiel. Big feels, apparently.
My number 2 is Big Feels as well. Because I need to I need to show this to everyone. I need to explain. My number 2 is the Third Doctor. Here's the thing. Canonically, I think, it's not so much that I want to fuck him. It's like, what would it be like? Mm-hmm. This is such a James Bond of a doctor. Like, I don't know that he knows about wine, but I know that he knows about wine. I just do, because that's who he is. Mm-hmm. And if you look at his relationship with Jo Grant, one of his companions, he started to have a thing for her, and he was clearly too old for her, right? But they talked about it. Like, not the two characters, of course, because it's TV, so they never talk about their problems. But like, on the show, they talked about how this is what was happening. He was kind of falling for her. And he did show her a great time, because you can't help but have that experience with him. He's so suave. He knows all this stuff. And I want to point out, he's always talking about his Venusian martial arts, his Venusian Aikido, his Venusian Jiu-Jitsu. He's like an island in the middle of all these other doctors. They don't do that shit. That's him. That's what he learned on Venus. Could he also have studied the Venusian marital arts on Venus? Possibly. Mm-hmm. He has such command over like the body. He has so much like, yeah, I cannot believe that this man does not fuck. It's not even a question of whether I want to. It's just, would it be amazing? Obviously it would. That is Doctor Who lore as far as I'm concerned.
Beautiful. So beautiful.
You're number 2, Bob.
River Song. I wanted to ask, have you ever really loved somebody? But it's not even that. It's have you ever been boundlessly, overwhelmingly loved when you weren't ready for it? And that moment before you're like, oh God, am I there? And it's that thing at the beginning of a relationship that does become a long-term relationship that's really defining in your life. And the kind of sex that you have in that particular moment is terrifying, but it also makes you feel so alive. And River Song is always in that place.
Number 1. Jamie, who is your number 1?
Big feels. Rory Williams.
Okay, I want to know everything.
He's one of the great loves of my life. He's perfect. He looks like a sweet nurse, but he's a goddamn centurion. He will wait 2,000 years for you. He will stand up for himself. He stands up for the people he loves. He's not afraid to do that. He's not afraid to fight when he has to, but he will cuddle you. Mm-hmm. He might hold you down a little bit and then cuddle you again. He is the greatest boyfriend ever. And as I said, I learned a lot about myself. Apparently, romance means a lot to me. Mm. He's the most romantic. Mm-hmm. And that kind of, the sex when you love someone like that, it's just everything you want. It's everything I want. Rory's perfect.
My number 1 is Captain Jack Harkness. And goddamn did he work for it. Because the thing is, I don't really want to fuck Jack Harkness, but I know that if I did, it would be life-changing because of just the level of professionalism, just the level, like, I think it was very well observed, Bob, like taking care of like the sheets, like the dishes are clean, like all that. That's, I don't even think that's personal in him. Like he cares about partners so much.
Oh no.
It's just like, you got to cross all the T's and dot the I's. Like, this is his, this is his life. This is his calling. He's going to fuck you right because that's a matter of like standards for him personally.
Yeah.
And so it can't help but be good. It can't, he's going to give everybody their ideal fuck. He has the skills. He has all the tools. He has the experience. God knows he has the motivation. It's going to happen. So yeah, he's number 1. How can he not be? Bob, who is your number 1?
Big feels, enormous, overwhelming feels. The 9th Doctor. He cracks jokes, he dances, he smiles, and he makes you laugh, and he cheers you up at the bar on some night when you're sad and you're there by yourself. But he's gonna fuck like somebody who has lost something irreplaceable, and you are not the answer. And he is not the answer to your shit either. And I think it's one of those things where if you ever had sex and you knew that the sex was about something else, like you were working your shit out, and it's relentless and it's going to be scarily intense at times, but it's that thing where you both recognize that you needed something from one another and you don't even know necessarily what it is or if you got it, but it was what you needed in at least that particular moment. And the kind of person, he's going to leave while you're still asleep, and the note doesn't have any number on it. It just says, I'm glad it was you. 9 is everything. He is everything. He is the ideal tragic fuck that you can only have in those very brief, rare moments in your life. And it's so singular.
Finally, Sharon, who is your number 1?
My number 1 is Big Feels also. It's River Song. I adore her. I think she is one of the most interesting characters. I think she is so confident and so competent. She can fly the TARDIS better than the Doctor himself. She is so sexy. She just exudes sexy. Outfits, hair, everything. But the thing about her that I feel like kind of proves her prowess in bed is the number of men. I'm sure there were some women too. I think we've only been shown men though in the series that have just fallen to her side and would do anything for her. There's, they get confused. They're like, I'll marry you. Sure. I mean, she has to be good in bed. And I just feel like she has an expanded lifetime. So she's lived long enough to experience it, but I don't feel like she's lived so long that she forgot her first time, like Jack Harkness lives for thousands of years. The Doctor lives for thousands of years, billions of years at one point. And I feel like they might forget some of that joy and that excitement. And I feel like she hasn't lost that yet. And I mean, damn, she spends 24 years on Trillium, the one night with the Doctor. That's pretty amazing. Also, she's in love with every incarnation of the Doctor, which is really cool to not care, to just be like, you're still my Doctor. I don't care if you're Peter Capaldi or Matt Smith or I'm here. I don't know. I love River Song.
So this has been quite a ride. We've been rocketing through the air. The wires are hanging down in the console room. The pool is in the library. We're all fucked up. Our hair is everywhere. But the episode is not over yet. We still have to have a hasty sum up that hopefully answers all of our questions that we're not supposed to ask about what has just transpired. Let us do that in a segment called Let's Unpack That.
Help me to understand romance, please. I read romance all the time, but the idea of somebody who waits 2,000 years sounds like crushing pressure to me. Because then I have to be worth 2,000 years of waiting. And that is going to fucking kill me. I don't know how to wrap my head around. Paint me a picture. Why is this not terrifying?
I don't know how to answer that question because I don't know that Amy Pond was necessarily worth him waiting for her, but he loved her enough to do it. So there's just something appealing about somebody that loves you that deeply that it doesn't matter what your flaws are. Your flaws are part of who you are, and he loves those too.
Wow. Shit. I'm learning so much. It's terrifying. Kris, I'm afraid.
No, I'm in total agreement about this too. And I think if you think about, obviously it's very exaggerated for Doctor Who, but when you make a sacrifice like that, that's not about the other person. That's about who you are. And I think that's true of Rory. He is that guy. Not that what he has with Amy isn't special, but he was always going to be this stand-up dude. If Amy had never been born, same basic guy, because he is just good to the fucking bone.
Yeah. Yeah. He's such a sweetie. And like I said, he'd be my number one run away with and marry. And he is sexy in a weird nerdy way. I like it.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree he's sexy. I I don't feel big fuck vibes, but he is sexy. I'm not disagreeing with that in the slightest. He's extremely handsome young man.
I'm shocked by everyone's ranking of Clara. I think that's what kills me. I'm like, okay. Wow. Like, to me, she's so fun and she's got so much going on. And like, she tells the doctor to not get vengeful when she dies. She tells him to be good and to try to be the best version of himself. And then she flies a TARDIS at one point. She's a Dalek at one point. She lives in all these different time periods, and she's just so fascinating. She soothed the doctor when he was a child. She's just got so many interesting aspects to her character. I think she'd be fun, and I think she'd be thoughtful.
I feel like she's horny for adventure, though, not for fucks. And that's why I was like, well, I'm interested in hanging out with her, but I don't feel like there's a good fuck here. I feel like there's a great, relationship or story or whatever here. I think even if she was into me, she would never be even remotely as into me as she would be into like, fuck, let's go get some shit happening. Let's go change the universe.
I mean, Danny Pink. She has sex with him. They have to. I'm not saying she's not going to leave in like an hour.
She lies all the time. She's a liar.
Oh, that's not a problem.
We're not talking about a relationship, though.
I know, but she's not trustworthy, and for me, that's part of why she was ranked so low. I can't get a handle on her personality, and I can't trust her.
Oh man, so if I can trust him, sometimes I want him less.
We're very, very different.
Yeah, Clara, I felt bad because I felt like, is this partly about how much I hated her writing and like her time on the show? A lot of it is because like I hated the thing about her being all involved in everything because I liked her before and I was so sick of companions having that shit dumped on them at the end of their run. Like they've got a personality and then all of a sudden they're like the most important person in the universe. And so I probably for me, I feel like I did rate her low. It's probably not fair to say that same kind of like very flirty, obviously very hot character is not there just because the show decided they were no longer interested in her as a person. Presumably she's still down to fuck. She's just, there's no time for it on screen. She's too busy with everything else in the cosmos.
I like the governess version of Clara, and I think that's also part of the problem is there's just so many different versions. You just don't know which one you're getting. I would like to know why Sharon ranked Rose so low.
I like Rose as a companion, and I like her as a person, and I think she would be a perfectly fine romantic fuck, but I feel like she would be very... I don't feel like she would be super interesting. I feel like she'd be fine. Like, she'd be fine, but you have all these aliens and more interesting people, and so, like... It's not that I wouldn't date her. She'd be fine for that. But I feel like she's
like fucking a normal person.
Yeah. And I don't know. This is like got Madame Vostra on the list there. It's like,
okay.
I like her.
That's interesting.
I like her a lot. But I also feel like she's very, very stuck on the 10th Doctor. And I adore that storyline. Don't get me wrong. I cry every part of that. He burns up the sun and I'm like weeping and I love her character, but I feel like there are more interesting characters.
That's so interesting because I'm normally in your position where I'm like, well, I could get that. That's normal. I could get that anywhere. But for whatever reason, the idea of like, fucking casually in a dirty flat just does something for me. It's like, college memories, maybe, who knows?
Don't you think that's partly about the other character's perspective too? Because like I felt about the 8th Doctor, like this is just a normal dude, what the fuck? Because like we're in the TARDIS and he's the Doctor, right? But Rose not only is Rose going to fuck you in a dirty apartment, but I think she's going to be enthusiastic about it. Like, to her, this is not a disappointing fuck. So to me, that changes everything.
No, I don't think it's disappointing to her at all. But I think it's still like, because I need that, like, there has to be an open bag of Cheetos on the fucking table while this is going down. This is important to me.
Yeah. It's not disappointment. It's just, it's a special capacity certain, I think, sensitive people have to be able to fuck in the presence of Cheetos. She's got it. She's ready. I just want to share that with her.
Kris, just to note, you did make a noise at me that you wanted to prod me about something.
I did. I am. The rest of this can wait. I was just getting the scores together. Okay. So, Zoe.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about Zoe because I understand if Zoe's just not your thing, because she's especially my thing. So if she's not especially your thing, that's fine. But you were talking about, like, she's going to approach this like a boss battle. Like, and the way I interpret that is she's an overachiever. She's going to come at this in like an analytical, earnest, almost like competitive with herself way. And what I want to know, Bob, is in these gifted classes that you took, did you never fuck anybody in those classes? Because to me, this is like sexual awakening of a nerd. And I'm ready for that.
You're right. That is a very potent thing. I think my assumption was that she would always be into it, but she would never be into it as a sensual experience so much as a, like, this is really different. And that would be the thing rather than like, you know, I think to me, this may be a real like arts versus sciences thing that I'm like, I don't know if I can roll with it that way. Unless I can do that, but it's not my preferred. I want a sensualist, and I don't think she's going to give that to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, in a sense, yes. I think like she's not going to suddenly become a person who is, she's not going to become sensitive in that way. But I also think there's something very like very unfiltered that can be very sexy about, like, once again, returning to the beautiful face, the face of someone who's like, they are not filtering this through all of the fucking romantic poetry that they had to read in their survey to literature class. This is like, like, I study conifers specifically. That's my context for the way you're fucking me right now. And it's blowing my mind. That is.
Wow. You're right. You're so right.
Okay. Well, her honor is defended. That's fine. I'm content.
I'm surprised that you're not coming for Kris, Jaime, about the 11th Doctor being number 21. You just accept that not everybody wants to fuck him up, huh?
Yes, because I didn't always feel that way about him either. So he really grew on me. I always liked Matt Smith's performance, but I didn't really like that Doctor until I rewatched for the podcast. And I grew to appreciate him in a different way. But he is very alien and sort of he's an acquired taste. And I get that not everybody has that taste.
Yeah. Okay. And like, to me, the arrogance of the character, I like the 11th Doctor. I think he was not always well served by writing toward the end. But I think in terms of like the performance and like who he fundamentally is, I'm into the character, but kind of in the way that like the 7th Doctor is the same way, where he's got such a front and he's so manipulative that even though there's an emotional core there, that's a dangerous sexual situation. And I don't know. But I do want to, just so the record is not in error about me, defend myself real quick. I never said that I don't want to fuck a Muppet. Nobody get it twisted. When we come to the Muppet episode, I'm ready to go. Bob, don't throw me overboard. Keep me on the list.
Okay, no, you will always believe me. If I have a Muppet fucking question, you're on speed dial.
All right, as it should be.
Okay, Kris, I'm so surprised, not because like I necessarily thought this was going to be your thing, but you typically approach things so carefully and analytically. I'm just really shocked that Sarah Jane was 12 and like that you didn't. I guess I'm just shocked that you didn't put together the thing that, like, obviously she's been having all these adventures and that she kept on doing this shit on her own. and has had all this crazy life, you know, that we don't ever get to see. And then she's still having it when we get to the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's great. And I like Sarah Jane. And I think you're even right that the sexual experience has to have been a part of that. But at the same time, I was thinking this through because I was thinking like, what is the friend vibe that I'm getting? And I feel like that is her relationship to the Doctor a little bit. Is that like, here is this in classic Who sexually unavailable man who is just like fully, I don't know, her connection to him and like thinking about like, where does this leave her sex life when she's like continually just like kind of trailing behind this weirdo, and they have a great time. But, you know, it just, I think she has so much potential. I'll say this, fanfic wise, you've got a great character in Sarah Jane, because if she can ever make that connection, if she can ever be the Sarah Jane that we see on screen in a sexual context, then we've really got something. But there's just something about her. That's what it is. That's what the emotional core of this is. She's my buddy who I want to fuck. And maybe if that had happened, then I'd feel differently about this. But, you know, there it is.
Okay. I just want to shout out Sharon for being the only one who kind of was with me on the Fourth Doctor and say thank you. Thank you for being with me in this like weirdness.
I don't know what it was about it, but he was so weirdly sexy to me. I was like, really? What is wrong with me? But I like
his eyes widen in a way that says, watch this because it is gonna blow your fucking mind. And you're like, I'm so afraid right now, but I am also horny. I know. Like, what a terrifying man. Kris, you coward. You didn't want to fuck him because he might be dangerous and scary. He probably could kill you, but it would be so hot.
I mean, it could be. This is the vampire episode all over again. And I was ready for the dangerous characters in that one. I'm fine with the physical danger. But here, I have a question for you. Let me turn this around on you. So this is a thing that, this is about the actor. Like, Tom Baker initially didn't like Louise Jameson, who played Leela. Yeah. So sometimes when she had a line, he would just go like, shh, and like make her not say the line. This becomes part of the character, right? Sometimes he just absolutely shits on people, seemingly for no reason. Mm-hmm. Are you prepared for a sexual encounter where it seems initially like maybe he's into it, but then he just absolutely shits on you? Like, just get out of, like, you are nothing, shut up. Is that the kind of danger you're prepared to face?
Ooh.
I mean, you're acting like that hasn't happened before.
I mean, it's not great. I know it's not great.
I feel like there are ways to handle it that are constructive is not the word I'm going to use, but move things along. And you can be fighty in that moment. Now, whether or not he's receptive to it, I think is the question. But I think in this context, we have to assume, yes, receptive to it. And if this is a case of putting in the right, you know, combination into this lock, then like, you just tackle him. You just say like, fuck your I'm going to you. And then like, this is when it turns into like angry blowjobs or like furious hand jobs or whatever. You're just like, now you're angry fucking, and that's a different thing.
Also, like, what your point was, the way he got where he respected the actress who played Leela, though, was because she made him reshoot a bunch of scenes. Mm-hmm. Because she was like, no, I'm not dealing with you stepping on my lines. We're reshooting this. Yeah. It was during the one where she goes blind at the end, whatever that episode is, and her eyes, because she was having trouble with the contact lenses. So they made her go from brown eyes to her natural blue eyes because she was having trouble with those red contacts. Baby. But that specific episode, I was reading a little bit about it, and she made him reshoot a bunch of scenes. And after that, they had a better working relationship because he was like, oh, crap.
Yeah, maybe he just needs boundaries, Kris, and I will goddamn give him those boundaries. And like, yeah, this is This is a chance to fight fuck somebody, and I am here for it.
I believe in your ability to fuck some sense into Tom Baker, but I regret to inform you that the fourth Doctor remained an asshole until the day he died. I saw it happen.
I'm slightly shocked by Bob's choice on Madame Vostra, because I happen to know you're a monster fucker, and what?
I am. Look, so my thing is, and I had to think about this because I was like, am I really? We're ruining my brand here. But the thing is that I like my monsters weird and sad, and she is neither of those things. She's like a beautiful, perfect late monster lady. She is neither aggressive, nor is she tortured and wounded. And so I don't know what to do with this confident monster. She might as well not be a monster at all, as far as I'm concerned. Like, she just happens to be a different species, but she's not a monster. I need a lot more, like, stakes. And if it's just, so I want my monster to go, I want to fuck you, but if you reject me, then I have to wipe your memory or something like that. And I'm like, okay, this is high stakes. This could go very badly. Yum, yum, yum. Like, no, this is, I need it to be a terrible decision. And this is not. She's perfectly fine. Also, it's weird to me that her wife continues to be her maid, and I have, like, class feelings about that, I guess. And I'm like, oh, you're from the future, but you still have a fucking, like, what? Fuck you. Don't do this. But she's still very hot. Like, I want to touch her skin, and I want to fuck her, but I want different things.
Interesting.
I know, but I love a fucking monster. I really do. I'm serious. I want my monster fucker card not to be taken away. I'd fuck any Bigfoot you give me.
Can I ask you I have two questions actually in a monster fucking vein. Number one, okay, so Paternoster gang, how do you feel about Strax? The Sontaran.
The Sontaran? Oh. You know what? He's such an asshole. I would do it 100%. I would be annoyed at him, but, like, we would be annoyed at each other, and we wouldn't, like, walk away having had a good time, but we would walk away having had a time, and that would be fine.
Okay, and then the other thing, I know you are, you're keen on the 10th Doctor, as all right-thinking people are. A lot of that was psychology. How about the, like, fucked up gnome version of him in the birdcage?
Okay, so my problem with that is that then I am fucking somebody who is extremely sickly. And now, God damn it, Kris, I can't believe you're making me fucking say this on a podcast. Okay, if I was in this scenario and this sickly fucking gnome who I loved wanted to have sex, but I was seriously worried about their health, then I guess I would, like, give them a blowjob or something, but I would not actually have sex with them because I would be concerned, and it would be like here, I know you want this, and I love you, strange little gnome 10th Doctor. Let me do this for you. That's, God damn it, Kris, you've made me record these words. Okay.
I was prepared to escalate to, you need to do it to save his life, but for it to work, he has to make you come, but you're already fucking him. That's so, we don't need to go to the bonus round. It's all right.
Yeah, no, I'm not. No, I don't think I could do this with the tiny gnome. He's so sickly, Kris. He's going to, but I guess if it would save his life, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, you're not invited to the bonus round, and there's a reason why.
Because Kris knows that I will fuck actual dead zombies. Kris happens to have it on authority that I'm like, hey, the stench is not a complete deal breaker for me, baby.
There's an extended universe here. You're very lucky, Bob. There was not a fish fingering joke in this episode. There almost was. I cut it. So I've tabulated all the scores, and here's what we have. Let's get it. Starting at the bottom. Number 16, we have the Brigadier. Number 15, Leela, who would destroy him. It's appropriate that she's on top here. Number 14, the 11th Doctor.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Number 13, Zoe. Number 12, Madame Vastra. Tied for number 11, Martha and Jamie.
Aw, they'd be cute.
You know they would. I think they'd be good for each other.
She would wreck him, but yeah, he'd be happy about it.
Oh, yeah, he'd come back for more. I think, yeah. Number 10, we have a humongous four-way tie between the Fourth Doctor, Sarah Jane Smith, Tegan Javanka, and Clara Oswald.
Damn. I feel like she walks into like a weird like threesome situation, like, all right, fine.
Yeah. Sarah Jane definitely, I feel like, is here as a favor. And this is she's gonna have to probably leave. Number 9, tie between Rory and Bill.
Oh.
Huh.
Yeah. Number 8, the Third Doctor. Number 7,
Yeah.
the Master, Peak Master. Number 6, Romana, parts 1 and 2. Number 5, Rose Tyler. Number 4, River Song. Number 3, the Ninth Doctor. Number 2, Captain Jack Harkness. And number 1, the 10th Doctor.
Huh.
As it should be.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can't believe that 10th one beat Jack. That's...
Yeah, I mean, Jack is... I guess it depends on what you want out of sex. And like that, we're getting into that a lot. Like what is at the throbbing heart of horniness? And sometimes what makes you horny isn't necessarily the most perfect orgasm of your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Although that is very good and you should never kick that out of bed.
Yeah. But that is interesting because if I think about the 10th Doctor and Jack Harkness fucking, as I sometimes do, I feel like...
Well, you're only human.
I feel like...
Actually, neither of them are human.
I feel like maybe, weirdly, Jack has the more, moving experience.
100%.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Doctor for Jack is always going to be the one that got away. Like, unless they fucked on a weekend and Jack was like, oh my God, I am throwing myself a fucking quinceañera. I have fucked the Doctor.
The thing that scares me about Jack Harkness, though, is that he would be great in bed, but I feel like he always makes slight miscalculations. Like he scoops up the wrong person, or he gets the time wrong, or something, and I feel like something might be slightly off. Like it would be good, but there might be something like you only have 3 minutes.
No, I mean, if he accidentally invites the wrong alien to the fucking orgy, that's okay with me. I'll take it.
True.
I don't know. I mean, this could be serious. I don't know if you guys watched Torchwood, but he spent the entire 20th century locked in a coffin underground. Like, if this had been in the middle of a scene, that could have been you. Yeah.
That's what scares me a little bit about him. It's not that it wouldn't be great. It's just there might be something that goes wrong.
We haven't talked about our median yet. And I believe it is going to be that big... It's going to be somewhere in that big four-way tie for 10th place. Yeah, the exact middle of this list is the Fourth Doctor tied with Sarah Jane, tied with Tegan, tied with Clara, which I guess, the takeaway is there is basically no agreement among our lists.
Is there... Which one were we the closest on?
Among those 4, let me look at the spreadsheet here. Let's see. On the Fourth Doctor, we have a spread between 3 and 18.
Jesus Christ.
Sarah Jane's probably the closest. The spread there is 7 to 17, so 10 spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Tegan. Oh, Tegan, the range is... 3 of us had Tegan at 13, it looks like. Maybe.
Okay.
Or very close. So we were pretty solid on Tegan, I think. She was right in that spot. So yeah, probably it's Tegan. Probably it's Tegan.
Okay. All right. I am okay with that because I like the fact that Tegan is our median because Tegan fucks. I think we can all acknowledge Tegan fucks. Mm-hmm. And it speaks well of our list that the median is somebody who you're like, there's not even a question in my mind. Tegan fucks. Mm-hmm. And this person, it bodes well. It speaks well of the universe.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's a great midpoint between the characters who I think are at the bottom of our list, who all vary, but for each of us, it's like, what the fuck do I even do with this? Versus the characters at the top of the list where there started to be a little consensus where it's like, obviously you would never miss a chance to fuck this person. I like that in the middle we have Tegan, who like, there's definitely something there, but there are obstacles.
Yeah.
So this universe as a whole, this multiverse as a whole, the Doctor Who franchise, on a scale of 1 to 10, how many boners do we give the Doctor Who universe?
I will start and say I think it is 7. And these are different boners than I have for other things, because these boners are boners for the unattainable, the tragic, the ships in the night. These are not boners for, a perfect relationship or the walking away knowing that everything was all right. So a 7, but it's a sad, mournful, crying in the rain David Tennant 7 that I want you to picture.
I would say 6. The highs are really high, but there were a lot of people on this list that just barely do it for me.
Wow.
The people who really do it for me really do it for me.
Ah, okay.
So it's not middle of the road, it's a little bit above, but not the sexiest franchise in the world.
For me, I think I'm going to say 7. That seems right. I feel like on paper it's more. This is kind of similar to Disney villains, where it's like these are characters you have to do some extrapolation to figure out, because a lot of especially classic Who is pretty chaste, but like the top of the list is super hot, and then looking at my list, I mean, I'm having trouble saying no to anybody above maybe 15 or 16. So
100%, same boat.
Yeah, but it's just that the like real visceral attraction to the characters, maybe just because of the nature of the stories, is not there until you get pretty high up the list, I think. So yeah, I think 7 is as high as I can go, like if it didn't really scratch that itch, I think 7 is where it has to top out for me. And that's where I'd put it.
I think 7 sounds about right. Yeah. Yeah, it was like 7, maybe 8, but yeah, probably 7, because the people that are up there for me, I'm like, yeah, you all are super great. But yeah, there's a couple of the characters that I'm like, no. No. Just, I wouldn't do that.
Doctor Who is an interesting show because Doctor Who, as a franchise, I think is fundamentally romantic, but it is not necessarily horny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And those are different things.
Oh, yeah.
And so if we were saying, how romantic is this show? I think we'd be like 9, 10, enormously. But how fuckable? Yeah, it's going to land lower, even though I think it has a lot going for it.
So, what did we learn today? Want to go around and just everybody, if you learned anything at all? We can start with you, Bob.
I learned that I am not as viscerally, instantly horny for a peepums just because they're a peepums, and I really thought... I remembered 3. 3 is actually my first Doctor. 9 is my first legit real Doctor, but 3 is my first Doctor, and I remember even seeing him, as like a 21-year-old or whatever, going like, oh, hello... and feeling things about John Pertwee's extremely lined face. But I went back and was like, I mean, he fucks, but like, I don't feel it. And that was such a weird thing, because I was like, but I know you do, you motherfucker. Look at what you're wearing. Of course you fuck. But like, why can I not access it? And so I guess there are limits for my peepums fucking abilities, or perhaps 3 is a challenge I just have not mounted yet. Perhaps that is what it is happening. Who knows?
I learned that I'm way more romantic than I thought.
Aww.
I'm also very driven by aesthetics and physical attraction.
Mm-hmm.
Even with a character, the physical attraction seems to dominate, but I'm way more romantic than I would have thought.
Oh.
I learned that a Scottish accent is not enough to persuade me.
Wow. That's saying a lot, because that accent is powerful.
I love it. It's it's a great accent, but I'm like, oh. It was funny.
For me, I guess I learned that, and I don't know if this is just like where I happen to be at the moment, but like, I feel like the characters here who seemed like they would really have a reaction, like they would really be like emotionally available to like, let me do something for you. Like that is hotter to me than the characters who are just kind of like swaggering in with everything figured out. That I think that receptivity and that like emotional availability and vulnerability definitely made a lot of characters rise up the list for me, who you wouldn't otherwise think of as the obviously sexy characters. Whereas, you know, some of the ones like in deference to the format, like I know the third Doctor fucks, but yeah, I mean, like, it's not like I'd pick him. It's just that if he picked me, I know he'd give me a good time. He learned it on Venus.
You know, that motherfucker can't keep his story straight. He's like Venusian karate or Venusian aikido. And I'm like, which is it? He doesn't know.
The whole story doesn't check out, Bob. He says he's thousands of years old. He learned all this shit on Venus, but he like spearhead from space. He just regenerated. So where is the Venus for everybody else? When did this happen? Although we do get he's in the shower and a little bit younger in that episode. So I think if you want like peak horniness for third Doctor, go check out Spearhead from Space.
Oh, yum, yum. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think that's it. Let's do plugs.
I will plug the Unspoiled Network. I did a whole show on Doctor Who. If you want to hear Natasha pick it apart and me try to defend it to a point where I no longer can defend it and just start picking it apart in a bad way, it's actually really fun. But we stopped when we knew it wasn't going to be fun for anybody anymore. We had a good time doing it. But it's not a whole lot of love the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still enjoyable to listen to.
Okay.
All right. Who else has got plugs? Sharon, you have anything to plug?
I guess I could plug Next Wrestling Fan. I haven't been on an episode recently, but I've been on an episode of Next Wrestling Fan. It is my wonderful husband, Miles Schneiderman, and MeganBob's podcast, and they do an amazing job of working together to understand NXT wrestling.
Thank you. Thank you for plugging that. That helps a lot, because I have so many plugs. All right. I have that podcast. I also am one of the writers on Garden Plots with Skeletor. It is the gardening podcast hosted by Skeletor, as he also deals with his many trials and tribulations in Eternia. Sometimes it is him on the throne because he has done a scheme successfully, and sometimes his schemes backfire. And currently we are on hiatus as we are rounding the corner towards our third and final season. And right now, Skeletor has the power of Grayskull, and that has ramifications. Wow. So there is that. Yes. And then also I do this show, and this show has a Patreon, and very important things about this. So, one, there's bonus content. If you're like, oh man, I wish there was more weird shit. Buddy, have I got weird shit for you. Kris Newton and I did a sin, I would say. We recorded an episode of something I am calling Weird Choices about the fuckability of certain kinds of punctuation. If you want to have your mind cracked wide the fuck open about semicolons, then you head on over to patreon.com/hardchoices and get that into your ears. There is more bonus content on that feed, and there's more coming. I just cannot stop talking about terrible, terrible, dumb things that we could rank the fuckability of. Fountain drinks that you can get at your average large restaurant. On the list, gonna be talking about it. I'm so sorry, everybody in the world, except for the people who are kind enough to donate. Also, we have a Discord. Oh my fucking God, we have a Discord. It's beautiful. I know you're thinking, how could that be beautiful? It's full of horny people. No, it is respectfully horny in all the ways that you would want, I have quotes. I have pull quotes from people. Probably the only place where I can casually mention a kink and not get flooded with either yum yuckers or unsolicited dick pics. Where else are you going to post all those fan art screenshots you have on your phone? And then this from Dan Mulcairn, which really hit me where I live. It just now hit me how much of a statement of intent it is that we have both a monster fucker and a dark side channel completely separate. Other lesser servers would certainly combine those two and would be the poorer for it. It is a wonderland of ridiculousness. I cannot recommend it highly enough. And also, we are working to make some other things possible. Bad Choices is coming. You're wondering, what's Bad Choices? Bad Choices whenever we get intoxicated and do a live show in front of you. It's going to be bad, but also hilarious. You get to choose who we talk about live in the moment. You get to send us pictures of people and say, what do you think of that? And we go, oh man, that person is going to spank you and it's going to kill you because they are a giant mech. That's what we think about Megatron. No, I don't know if that's what we think about Megatron yet. So that is all happening over there at the Patreon for Hard Choices. So please get on over there. And if you would like to subscribe and get weird bonus content, Kris, do you have anything to say about the terrible things that we did whenever we talked about punctuation?
You know the little smiley man with the semicolon and the parentheses, and he's smiling? He's not smiling, buddy.
Kris!
That's not what happened. You have to listen to the podcast to find out.
God damn, you're so right. Shit, Kris, yep. And Kris, what do you have to plug?
I'm the host of MegaDumbcast, which is a daily podcast where I evaluate the dumbest thing on every single goddamn page of a dumb role-playing core book or supplement or something. The show is on hiatus right now, but not for much longer. I'm about to start talking about a new book. I haven't revealed it yet, but it's going to be great. That's going to be like season 6. If you join the Patreon, patreon.com/MegaDumbcast, you can get megasode compilations of daily episodes for the other 5 seasons about games such as Palladiums, Ninjas, and Super Spies, and Heroes Unlimited, and Beyond the Supernatural, as well as the Secrets of Shadowloo supplement for the White Wolf Street Fighter role-playing game. Because the White Wolf Street Fighter role-playing game itself is too mainstream, I feel, so I decided to take it a step further. And season 5 was all about 3 supplements for the old Marvel Superheroes Face Rip role-playing game from TSR from back in the day. Also on Patreon only are episodes of Fuck, Marry, Slay, which is a podcast about fucking, marrying, and or slaying all of the various clans from Vampire the Masquerade. I completed that series, and I'm now talking about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines with a series of guest hosts, the latest of which is MeganBob, who, if you were disappointed that MeganBob didn't fuck any monsters in this episode, Jesus Christ, you got to come over to the Patreon and see what I have to deal with over there.
I am trying to crawl through the screen and fuck every monster possible. Kris is desperately trying to hold me back from fucking individual pixels. It is a real ride.
Yep. We've already done the Samity, who are the vampires who look like rotting corpses. We did Mariners, who are like the Gillman types, which was quite a ride. And still to come, maybe out as of the time of this release, is our Gargoyles episode, in which we will discover if MeganBob can fuck the stones themselves. Just run out into the countryside and just fuck the mountains.
I'll do it.
So, yeah, that's it.
All right. Thank you so much for spending some time with us, for going on this journey through time and space. It is much appreciated, and we are always glad to have you along as our companions. So thank you for coming with us. And, well, I guess this is the sign off for the show now. So stay hard. This has been Hard Choices. If you want to show your support and get even more goofs from behind the scenes, visit patreon.com/Hard Choices and become a patron. You'll get exclusive voting rights and participation in every weird new thing we do. If you like the show, please consider leaving a 5-star rating and review on the podcatcher of your choice. It shows people what's fun about the show and makes it easier for others to find it too. Hard Choices is produced by MeganBob. Our theme song is Funk Me by Soundroll. This piece and all music used in this production is licensed through Upbeat. You can find details in our show notes and listen to more great tunes at upbeat.io, spelled UPPBEAT.io. The Hard Choices logo is designed by Claire Mulcairn. If you'd like to get into touch with us, look for the Smash Fiction Fan Faction on Facebook and join the conversation. Thank you so much for listening and hanging out with us. You're a peach!